Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Rahul.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, fine, Rahul.
I'll wait for 2 minutes, then I'll start.
और मत पढ़ो दारू ये होगा Martha are black t-shirt and khaki shorts today. Yeah. Let me get to it now. Rohini wakes up at 6 o'clock every morning. She
Sachin, can you mute, please?
gets out of bed, brush,
Yes, sir.
her teeth and then
Okay, let's start. Good evening, everyone. Are you all doing?
Good. How are you?
Cool. Good, thank you. Okay, so I hope you all were there in yesterday's session. Anyone new today? Okay, fine. So let's start today. So till yesterday we have covered basics, right? What is performance engineering, how it is different from performance testing, what is its importance, right? Anybody want to briefly go through? Anybody wants to do that?
Yes, Vicky. Yes.
Okay, so you want me to quickly go through yesterday's topics?
Yes, please.
Okay. So yesterday we discussed about the importance of performance engineering, okay, and how it is different from performance engineering testing. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Can you see my
Yeah,
screen?
yes, Rahul.
Yes, no? Okay.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, fine, good. So performance testing is, let me explain you. Detecting the problem is done through testing, right? What is the whenever you run a test, you get some data, you get response times data, hits per second, Jmeter reports, LoadRunner reports, right? All those are some outputs from the testing. Now, engineering is how you can prevent those from happening, in future, right? How you can tune them, how you can tweak them, optimize them by using some tools, by using some technologies, right? By collaborating with developers, sharing their inputs, right? So that is all engineering is. Okay. So there is a difference between reactive and proactive, right? So performance engineering is a proactive approach wherein you try to minimize the problems before going to production, before going to the live applications, right? So you do not want your application to be down, or there will be zero downtime, right? As we were discussing yesterday, if you remember, even 99.9% availability can cause millions of dollars of losses for some organizations, right? So that is the importance of performance engineering. Okay. Now, in one line, you can remember this. From tester to engineer means from detection to prevention, right? So that is how uh, the dif the difference in one line is. Okay. Today we will go through few more concepts about engineering. We will discuss about threads and process, and we will discuss about JVM architecture. So before going to that, I want to know, do you have any idea about JVM or JDK or in general Java language? Yes, no? Anyone? Anyone from coding background, from development background?
No.
That's fine. I mean, if there is no, okay, okay, no worries. So I'll keep things very simple. I'll try to keep things simple, okay? And in case if you find any difficulty to understand, please feel free to ask questions. Okay, it may happen. I may not know the answer,
Yes.
but I'll definitely help you. But sorry, somebody is saying something. Okay, so what I was saying is, if you are uncomfortable to understand anything, please feel free to raise your concern. Okay, to show your doubt. Okay, so let us try to understand what is JVM. Okay, uh, so before that, let us see what is the difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM. Can anyone has any idea about these three terms? Any idea? Even full form of it?
JDK is
Well,
Java Development Kit, and
Mm-hmm.
JVM is Java Runtime Environment, and JVM is Java Virtual Machine. Okay.
Okay, good. That's great.
To
Can
run the
Mhm.
Java application, we use JRE, and JDK is wholesome,
Correct.
like when we do a development kind of thing on, and virtual machine is something like which we will run it.
Correct, correct. So, in simple terms, JDK is a, like you said, wholesome kit where you can develop your applications using Java, right? Development kit means, let's say you have some tools available with you. Okay, I'll just give you an example of car. Okay, so let's say you have car and now you want to run that car, you need road, right? You need street, right? So that is a runtime environment, correct? Now JVM is there must be some controls, right? How suppose how much speed that can attain, okay, how far that goes, right? So all those things is controlled by JVM. Now JVM, suppose my this laptop is having 16 GB of RAM, okay, and some if I deploy some application on my own laptop, it requires some space. Now I need to understand this thing. Allocation of space is like, whenever you go to a hotel or uh, any loading or boarding place wherein you have been allocated some room. Let's say there are 100 room in a hotel and you booked one room, room number 101. So you will be the owner of that particular room 101 for some specific time, right? So that is how allocation of memory happens. Okay, whenever you build an application, Okay, if you remember, I was taking an example of some Spring framework application yesterday. So what I was doing, I was allocating around 32 MBs of heap space, right? So my total space is 16 gig, and I am allocating around 32 MB of that. So it means there are 100 rooms in a hotel. You are owner of one particular room. You can do anything you want in that particular room, right? So in that room, let's say there is kitchen, there is right, washroom, bedroom, everything is there to use. You can use that. You will be confined to that 10 by 10 room, right? So that is how allocation happens. Making sense?
Yep.
Yes, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes, Rahul.
guys, sorry to say this thing again. It will be good, right? If you all engage, if you all interact. I want some value to be added in your careers, right? So let's engage. If you want to add something, please, and let's be excited, right? And now, coming to JVM, this allocation, how will you define how much space you need? Right now it depends. Suppose if you are going, I'll take an again an example of an hotel. Let's say if you are going alone, you can stay in a single bedroom. If you are going with family, 2, 3, 4 members, you need a bigger space, right? So that is how memory allocation happens. Okay, and we need to understand, if the application is simple, okay, it can run by allocating lesser heap space. But if the application is complex, it needs some more space. Now, because of cloud, there are many benefits, because customers can use, organizations or companies can use as much as they want on the fly. But initially, I would not say initially, in recent past, what used to happen, if we talk about on-premises, right? There has to be servers available every time, whether you utilize them or not. Availability of those servers is required, because those hardwares are needed every time. Now, as much as you need, whenever you need more, you can add those on the fly by using some cloud services. So that is the benefit of cloud. So that's how, allocation of whether it is storage, whether it is compute power. Whenever I say compute power, that means CPUs. Okay. So that is how allocation is happening. Now, how this architecture works. Okay. So whenever you run a Java program, okay, I'll take an example of yesterday's program. Yeah. So this is a simple program, okay? What it is doing, so I have three APIs, right? This one is quick, this one is slow, this one is consuming some CPU. We will run it again today with some differences. Now, whenever this call whenever you make a call from your client means from my laptop, okay? So there is some memory being allocated, okay? Because what it is doing, there is this class, right? And we are just printing this message. Here we are using some lengthier code just to uh, get things bit more complicated, right? So whenever you run a Java program, right? Whenever there are any coding Java code being run, there are objects being created inside the memory. Okay, those objects are temporary objects. Means whenever application do not need them, it will get released. Okay, and uh, whenever, who is responsible to release them? Garbage collection. Garbage collections are automatic process. There are different algorithms like G1, GC, right? Now I'll show you. In yesterday's application, I was, if you remember the command which I was running, I was using G1GC. Okay, I was allocating my arguments on the runtime. Okay, I was allocating 32 MBs of my space, and I was using G1GC. Similarly, you can use different algorithms. These are automatic functions provided. It's a provision given by Java, wherein whatever objects are not required, whenever a class is invoked and object being redundant means your application do not need that in the future, it will get released. Once it will get released, you get some empty space again. It's like, okay, you booked a room for 2nd or 3rd of December, then you left that and that room is empty. Now somebody else can book on 4th of December, right? So room is same, but now somebody else will be the owner after some time, right? In the future, somebody else will be the owner. So that's how it happens. Now there are different spaces inside heap itself. Now, if you have heard about oldgen and permgen, after Java 8, permgen, the terminology is replaced by metaspace. Okay, so that is how we are calling permanent generation nowadays. It is called as metaspace. Okay, initially, every object is placed inside the hidden space. Okay, so whenever I invoke a class, this was my class, I invoke it, a object is created inside a hidden space, right? And then it, suppose if it survives this space, if it survives hidden space, it will move to survivor space. Now, why there are two survivor spaces? Because it will make sure like any used object will not get released by any chance. Okay, so that is why we are having two survivor spaces. So if any object survive S0, it will go to S1, right? And then the from the collection, it will get released. So this hidden plus survivor space, these both are known as young generation. Okay. And whosoever objects survived all these three GCs, these are moved to old generations. Now, let's see if I have data for, yeah, okay, I'll test it again. So one thing more, let's say if you are running a test and you keep on observing memories ramping up, then ramping down, okay, and there are frequent sign, like a sine waves, okay, so that is a healthy sign. Okay, that means garbage collection is running at frequent intervals, and it is good because those are minor GCs. Minor GCs won't affect application performance much, and it is good. It is a healthy sign of any application if there are frequent minor GCs running. Okay, so that is first thumb rule. Always remember, if there are minor GCs running frequently, that is a healthy sign for your application. Okay, now let's say if any object survive those minor GCs and those are still there inside the application and those become older now, then to replace them, there are major GCs that will get invoked by Java. Major GCs may cause performance issues. That will be of momentarily issues, but it can be like a stop the world situation. Stop the world, you understand, right? Everything will get stopped for that particular moment. Okay, your application just stuck for that particular moment. It may now that whenever I say moment, it may be few seconds and it may last till few minutes, depending upon the size of the heap. Are you with me, everyone? Any questions so far?
Vicky,
No questions.
Vicky,
Okay, fine.
are you able to hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
So when you say minor and major GC, which space? Like, is it young generation, old gen? Where is this minor GC happening, and where is the
Yeah,
major GC?
major GC cleans up the older generation. Okay, major GCs will cleans up the older generation. Minor GCs will clean up the younger generation. Okay, so hidden plus survivor, these both comprise of younger generation. Minor GCs will clean up these space. Any objects survives the minor GC will move to older GC, and these will get replaced by released by major GC. So here major GC will run, here minor GC will run.
So the minor GC also happens in the survivor spaces, or does it happen only in the hidden space?
Yes, both.
All three places.
Yeah. Yes.
What is the permanent generation, Vicky? What's the difference between young, old? I get that, but I'm not able to understand this permanent generation. Are you?
Yeah, permanent generation means there will be something which application wants till the session gets maintained. For example, you logged into your Gmail in the morning and it still logged in till you explicitly logged out by clicking on the logout option, right? So that means somewhere in the memory, your session IDs or your cookies somewhere has maintained your sessions throughout that duration. So which memory they will use? They will use permanent memory. Okay, so they will use metaspace. Okay,
Oh,
and Java.
mm.
Yes, please go ahead.
No, finish it. Finish what you're saying. Java.
Yeah.
Permanent, metaspace is in the current version, it is called as a metaspace.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
After Java 8, the permanent generation terminology is being replaced by metaspace. It's like that.
So does the permanent generation has the static content like the Java, like CSS, HTML, JavaScript? Is that content loaded into the permanent generation of JVM?
Yes, static contents is there static variables, static objects, and any primitive variables declared as static. Those all will remain inside metaspace or gens.
And will there be a GC in this area in this section of the memory in permanent generation, or it doesn't?
During full, yes, there will be during full garbage collection cycle, there will be GCs.
GCs on the permanent generation. Does permanent
Yes.
generation go through a GC like young generation and old generation?
Yes, objects in PermGen also subject to the garbage collection
Okay.
during a full garbage collection cycle.
Only during full
So
GC, only during major
yeah,
GC, right?
only during full garbage. So full garbage, you can say it like this. Full garbage is a superset. Major GC and major GC and minor GC are subsets.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So when I say full garbage, that means anything that is of no use throughout these three generations will be released. Okay. Minor GC is applicable only here. Major GC applicable only here. Full garbage cycle, if there is anything left out, that will be run through metaspace.
Okay.
Any question, anyone?
So
Anyone
it
want to
runs
add their
through
own,
metaspace. Yeah. So metaspace permanent is replaced by metaspace. So in full garbage, you are saying that it only occurs in the permanent or the whole young plus old plus permanent during full
okay,
garbage.
yeah. So during full garbage, see, minor GC will take care of this part. So
Okay.
there will be nothing left if minor GC is happening correctly.
Yeah, for young
First thing,
generation.
if there will be nothing left inside it if minor GC is happening correctly. Okay. If any object survived, then major GC will take care here. And then full garbage collector will take care of metaspace.
So they move basically the objects move to old generation from young generation if they survive.
Yes, yeah, correct.
Okay. If they
If they
survive in
survive,
old
yes,
generation also, then they move to permanent generation.
correct, correct.
Okay. Okay.
If object survived any of the garbage collection, they move from one place to another place.
Okay, got it.
Vicky, we don't create objects in permanent generation, right? We create the objects, whatever we create, they either go in the young generation, they will be in young generation
Correct.
or old generation, but not in permanent
Yes,
generation.
that's right.
Is that a correct
That's
statement? Okay.
correct.
And how can we
Yes.
monitor the
Every
memory utilization of each of these spaces and generations? Is there a tool where we can see, okay, right now Eden, this is the size, and this amount of memory is utilized. And for survivors like that, for survivor, for old generation, is there a
Yes.
tool where we can?
Yeah, I'll show you. Yeah, I'll show the J console, J Visual VM. We can do that there. Okay, here I'll show you. And also, if suppose recently I was using New Relic. Okay, so in New Relic also there are options to monitor each and every space. In fact, the graph itself shows you which space is allocated to which area.
Okay.
I'll show you.
Vicky, I have one doubt here. When you were talking about this old generation and metaspace, right? So I don't know, someone asked if the object survived full GCs also, you said it will move to metaspace, right? I'm not sure if that is actually correct, because whenever we provide the heap, right, on the app servers, so whether this metaspace, is this metaspace part of that heap, or is it outside that heap? We do XMS and XMX, right? We have that configurations to configure the heap, right? Now this metaspace is also part of that heap, or is it not part of that heap?
Yeah, so that XMS and XMX2 you're talking about.
Correct. Yeah.
So that is still here, young and old.
Correct.
So that is not part of, yeah.
Okay.
So if you, I'll show you, suppose this was my allocated memory, right? 32M and 32M. So if I go here, so see, metaspace is above that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted to say that. It's not part of the heap.
Yes, you are correct, right?
But that, if we have to utilize that space, we'll have to explicitly configure that, like -XX metaspace size, like 10 MB or like that.
I believe that is, I mean, that is done by Java itself. You need not to configure anything else apart from XMS and XMX.
Okay. So how much is, now that you're passing only 32 MB of heap,
Yes,
both initial and
correct.
max, what is the metaspace that is available now with that much of heap provided? I mean, will it take based on the heap configured, or I don't know how this works actually? Because you have not set up anything, but there is still some metaspace used, right, there. If I increase the heap to 64 MB, then will this metaspace also get increased automatically, or will it be this much only default?
It will increase. Let's do that.
Okay.
I'll show you. Yeah. Any questions from anyone else, or anyone want to add something? Your own thoughts?
Right now, I see on the visual VM, the metaspace size is 36 MB or something, is it? Vicky,
Here?
on the visual VM right now, metaspace size max is how much is it? 1 GB?
38 MB. Yeah.
Oh, 38
But
MB.
here, heap is
32.
32 MB. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Vicky, one more. Actually, I'm new to this, so how to set up this all like Visual VM where I can see this?
Okay. So I can share you this demo sample application with you, the zip file, and JVisual VM. I think if you have JDK 11, then it will not be there inside your folder. You have to install it explicitly. You can download directly from Google. Just go and download JVisual VM. Okay. And once you run the application, the zip file which I share you, once you run that, you can see the process ID get started here. Let me show you. Yeah, sorry, I missed those installation things. So if anybody need this to test on your own, let me know. I can share with everyone or inside this Teams.
Yeah, it will be helpful if you share the steps, then we can try.
Sure, I will do that. I can do that. Okay, so how much you want me to allocate? Let's say
Double it maybe.
1024
Yeah, should be fine.
256. Yeah.
If you don't mind, can you explain on those parameters? XMS and minimum and max is okay. What about the rest of the parameters?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. So this is nothing but your uh, algorithm, right? Garbage collection algorithm, and rest all are to make sure you are running. You want to connect this through these tools. So just 1 minute, I'll explain you. Okay, so this is the new process ID. Okay, now you can see this is 256. Max is we have given one gig, right? So this is heap size. So metaspace is not a part of heap size. Now you can see here.
But it didn't change also, no? It's not directly related. It did not change that metaspace also, right? It was same 1098907. If you basically divide it by 1024 three times, so you'll get to know the value, right?
There seems to be a small difference. I remember it was around like 32, something like that. Now it dropped to 27
But
MB
32 was the not the
metaspace.
metaspace, I think. If you see the max rate, that was the
Max
similar
main
value that
system.
was
Yeah,
actually previously also the max metaspace size.
right.
So can you
Max
go
is
to the overview and see if there is a uh, metaspace size that you can see there, like a monitor or overview?
Sorry,
You will be able
which
to see the heap details, metaspace details on the monitor page, right? Or sorry, overview or somewhere. Can you click on that?
yeah,
In,
okay.
yeah, here can you see anything like metaspace size that is being explicitly set other than your 256 and 1024 G1 GC parameters? There's nothing else set, right? Yeah.
maybe looks like metaspace size is whatever uh, is a default thing. Maybe to change it, we need to use a different flag. I don't know if there exists a flag with which we can change the metaspace
Yeah,
size.
yeah, that's correct. We can explicitly mention the meta size. Otherwise, it will be by default taken from the operating system. So it grows exponentially. When it requires more space, it will occupy from the operating system directly. So we have to restrict it because this can cause out of memory. So there is this parameter which we can use to restrict the usage of meta space.
Yes, that we can restrict, and yeah, it is not the part of heap that we are allocating. It's not the part of that heap, but yes, we can restrict it to avoid those, like you were saying, out of memory exceptions. Yes. And basically, heap, what is heap, right? So heap is generally used for storing objects, and while metaspace is used for storing class metadata, for example, uh, static variables, or like you were saying, some static contents.
Where does the variables go,
And
Vicky? Like the local variables, like within the program. do they go into the heap, or do they go into a different section of the memory? All
Which
these
variables?
int, float, whatever we declare in the program, Java program, the
Mhm.
integer types or the booleans, or where is the space for these variables allocated? Is it in the heap or non-heap?
Yes, yes. These, see, whenever I invoke this class, an object is created inside heap only. Okay. All the static contents, all the static variables will remain inside metaspace. And metaspace is actually controlled by operating system. Yes. So, and we can restrict it, and actually we should restrict it to avoid out of memory exceptions.
What change we need to implement to overcome the out of memory error in the heap? Suppose
Basically, you need
during
to
the
play
load
with
test,
this. Okay. Yeah.
only the minimum and max only will be, whatever the max beyond that will be increasing. Is it the only way?
Yes. So this is one of the way. Another ways are we need to check what exactly is causing that. Now, suppose that's what we are discussing. Suppose there are some objects which are no longer required, but those are still available inside heap because of some algorithm that we are using, garbage collection algorithm, that is not that efficient, because this G1 GC is for very simple applications. Okay, so if the applications are complex in nature, then you may need to use another garbage collection algorithm. So that is another way.
What are the
And
different types of, what will be what is the most frequently used garbage collector algorithm?
serial and parallel, those are mostly used. And now in some cases database may uh, there are absence of indexes in the database. Okay, so because of that, SQLs are taking time, consuming time, and consuming your memory as well. So that can also create out of memory exceptions. So
If it
there
is
are
if we recommended to use a parallel algorithm, suppose suppose the default configuration they're given as a sequential. If I want to recommend them to use the parallel algorithm, where I need to do the changes and what I need to do the change.
okay. So those are, see, currently what I'm doing is it's a very simple application, right? I'm using this kind of parameter, but your application development team, they are aware what configurations, where those configurations are present, right? It so I mean, those things are available to the developers, and we can take help like where those configuration settings are available, and we can ask them to tweak them.
But if they asked me, if asked us to give the uh, syntax or the parameters to be configured at the time, what we need to do? How can, is there any way, is there any syntax for that, for parallel GC?
I need to check that. There should be. We can Google that. I mean, let us do it right away. Any syntaxes available for GCs?
If I understood right, Vicky, I mean, see, is there, like, we run a test with parallel GC. We run the same test with G1 GC. We run the same test, say, with another algorithm, and we want to compare the performance of the transactions. Is there something which we can do by ourselves, or do we need to rely on the some other team? That's something. So, like we see, whatever changes we're doing right now, it's on the application server, right?
Yes.
See,
See,
whatever configurations, I think whatever Wiki is trying to do, right? The similar configurations you have to configure it in your application server. Okay.
Correct.
Say for example, if your Java application is deployed on a Tomcat server, you will have a file there You open that file, basically configure these parameters and run your Tomcat server. It will bring up your application, and then you can, as usual, do your performance test in that. Once it is done, you can stop your Tomcat server, change your algorithm on that file again, and then start your Tomcat server, run your performance benchmark again, and then compare the transaction details.
Okay, so for G1 GC, the in the command, it's whatever Vicky has put in the command line.
Yes.
So for parallel GC, there is a similar text
Correct.
that I can
Yes.
replace. Okay,
Yes.
all right. That's what I
Yes.
was trying to.
It depends upon which file, because in JBoss it is a standalone .sh or standalone .sh. In Tomcat,
WebLogic is different. Tomcat it's different. WebSphere is different. Yeah.
Right. Yes. But the way the syntax is the same, like how Wiki is doing it here. You can do the exactly copy paste the same thing and put it in that.
Yeah, just replace the G1 GC text and put it
Yes.
to use the relevant.
You can confirm once you have that. You start your Tomcat server. You load your this one J Visual VM or J Profiler. In the overview details, you can see it will print you the algorithm that it has been.
Algorithm name. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So, Vicky, one more question which I wanted to ask. This XMS and XMX, we are setting it for the heap size, Eden plus old generation, right? So I was wondering if we can customize the survivor space size also. So S0, S1, right? Is there something that we can do to restrict the size of S0, S1? Or, so that's something which I'm trying to know. And the young, so the whole 1024 XMX is 1024. So that means 1 GB, let's say 1 GB of size we are allocating for heap. In that, I want to like say, okay, this much should go for Eden, this much should go for S0, S1, and then the remaining goes to the old generation. So is there something, can we do something like that?
And what is the main reason? I mean, what we want to achieve that by allocating separate space for survivors?
I mean, just a hypothetical situation. I'm just saying this context. Is it possible?
No, that is actually taken care by
I mean, what I want to do is the survivors S0 space, if that should not go beyond this much. Can I restrict the limit, like just like the heap we are restricting not to go beyond 1024 right now. If it goes beyond, we'll throw an out of memory error, correct? So similarly, S0, I need to the boundaries to that. Okay, if you want to extend
XMS is this, right? XMS is this. XMX is this, right? So XMS means your plus survivors both, and XMXS means your young and old both.
At this time, when we'll get out of memory error? When the young generation is memory is completed, or both young and old generation memory is completed?
Both. Yeah. So when you go beyond 1 gig of in this case, then there will be out of memory exception. Suppose if I run a load test now, and if I consume all my 1 gig of memory, then there will be out of memory exceptions. So yeah, so coming to your question, so you want to configure these two separately, right? So I don't think, I believe it's a job of JVM itself, but I need to check. And
we cannot give any values directly for survivor and survivor 2.
Yeah.
But we can mention ratio in the sense like Eden space is 256 MB. So we can make something like 1/6 of Eden space or 1/2 of Eden space is what we can allocate to survivor space. But explicitly we cannot give. So in ratio, there is one option where we can mention the ratio, survivor ratio.
Okay.
Any other question? Any other thoughts from anyone?
That settings where we need to update survivor settings?
You mean
it's
the
same
ratio
as
one?
XMS. Yeah,
Yes,
XMS.
ratio.
So just like XMS we are giving, we can have one more parameter argument like XX minus XX, and survivor ratio is equal to some 1/6 or 1/4 or half 1/2 or something is what we can mention in the command line itself.
Okay, in that mind.
Mhm.
So I think we are basically referring to the different flags related to.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
okay, I think that's called flags.
Okay, so I want to go through the difference between process and thread as well. I hope you have heard these terms: multi-threading, multi-processing. Anybody want to add something? What is multi-thread and what is multi-process? Any example from anyone? Anyone? Can you hear me?
No, you're able to hear you. Okay.
We can hear.
Okay. I thought I came out of the teams. Okay, fine. So
The process is
process
something like
versus
a
thread.
program
Okay.
itself, but the thread is
Mhm.
something like a function or a call inside that process itself. So threads actually utilize the processes resources itself.
Yes, that's right. Thread actually utilizes the process resources. That's right. So process has its own heaps. For example, if you open any application, Word or Excel, right? So if you open one window for Word and two, three more Word pages, then those will be multi-threaded, right? Process will remain the same. Those will be multi-threaded. Process has its own heap, own stack, right? Own resources. And like you mentioned, thread utilize the resources of process. Although thread share the heap memory, okay, thread also share the network connections, but thread has his own stack and own program counter, okay. Like I'm showing you this example here for Chrome, right? So each tab is a separate process. Each tab process has multiple threads: rendering thread, CS, JS thread, network thread. So if a process crashes, right, only that program dies. But if a thread crashes, the whole process can crash because it is utilizing those resources, right? Sharing those resources. So process in general, I mean, it's a heavy thing and it is slow to create. You can say it's a isolated thing and secure thing, but in uh, thread is light and it's fast to create. That is why developers prefer multi-threading applications, right? And it is suitable for concurrency as well. And in LoadRunner, if you have ever noticed, there is an option of run vUser as a thread and run vUser as a process. So if you check run vUser as a process and then start your Vuegen or controller, you may observe it will consume hell lot of memory from your load generator, right? For the same protocol, correct? So, but if you run vUser as a process, then the memory consumption of the load generator is very much less. So that is few differences that I want to share. Anybody, anyone wants to add something? Anybody want to ask something here?
Um, Vicky, could you define program, process, and thread, or show
So
like this is program, this is process, and this is thread?
okay, so process, like I was saying, now these tabs, right? So now let's say this is a process, right? Now if I open another Word document, then that will be a thread. Okay, there will be two threads running for Microsoft Word. Now if I open Excel as well, Excel separately, that will be a separate program in in itself, correct? But again, if I open another tabs of Excel, that will be a thread for Excel program. Okay. Are you getting me, or
Your voice was going in and out, maybe because of network issue. So
can you hear me now?
yeah, it's going in and out. Just so yes. So
Okay.
what I heard you say
Pros-
is Word is a program, Excel is a program. Similarly, there are so many programs. If you once you like when you create multiple instances of the same program, they are run using threads. Is that what you said?
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
threads means they share the heap, they share the network connections, they share the static variables, right?
Yeah.
But process runs independently. Okay, so one process is totally independent from another process.
So if you open so like you open Chrome, again you launch the Chrome. Are these two separate processes, or are they only one process with running multiple threads? Like anything, like if you take just a Chrome browser when you launch for the first time, and you launch again, then two instances of Chrome will be two Chrome windows will open, right? So are these two different
These are two
processes?
separate processes. Yep, processes, yes.
Okay. So if I open
Each
a separate
tab
tab
of
within the same,
that, yeah.
okay. So if you open a separate tab, it's a thread. If you open a separate window, it's a separate program. Is that correct statement?
Each e- each tab is also a separate process in case of Chrome. In case of browser, each tab is also a separate process. So if
Okay.
I open a task manager here, right? So right, so all these are different processes for Chrome.
And there are
No, I
23
think
process IDs.
these are all these belong to the same process, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But these are all different threads, I guess. Because if you go to the task manager, if you add command line to it, can you check if the process ID is same for all those
Yeah.
uh, details? I think you have to go to the details page uh, on the left side. Yeah, here you can add the column command line.
If they are
So
different process, they should be
each
23.
tab has
Oh,
a
yeah.
Correct.
different process IDs.
Correct.
So each tab has a different PID, process ID.
Is there something like a thread ID then? If there's multiple threads running within a process, is there a way to see that? Is like, okay, this thread ID is running this particular, taking care of this part of
Threads
the
we can
process.
see from, yeah, so threads, for example, in this application only, right? So we can see threads here for that particular application, right?
And
So
okay.
you are saying like this, yeah. So these are process IDs. Similarly, if you want to see the thread ID,
Mhm. Is there a
I
way to
think, yeah. So in this way you can see that.
thread name? So there's which one corresponds to our server
So
right
all
now?
these threads are
Mm.
related to this demo load application. Okay, all these are now currently automatic threads. I mean, not related to any users. There is currently no user running on this application. Okay,
Mhm.
so these threads are created by application itself. So when I run the test, then it will add some more. I mean, when I put load on this particular application, there will be n number of threads created. But currently, whatever you are seeing, these are created by the application itself.
Which specific thread count will increase if you're running, say, for 100, 550 users? We see it, if we take a snapshot of this, right? We are running for 50 users, and this is
Yeah.
what we see. If I'm running for 100 users, to accommodate that load, what
Let's
things will increase in
mhm.
this?
Let's see.
So they are limited na. If suppose if there is only one node instance, something like REST API thread are limited, then default threads are limited.
Yes, that, yeah, that's true.
So these are the ones. Yeah.
Okay. What's the max it can go? Is there, is there a setting for that? How many of these entries can we see in uh, thread entries can we see at max? Is there a number
Yeah.
to that?
Yeah. It depends upon your resource usage, how much CPU and memory it can able to consume.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
yes, in application there are settings like thread pool connections. Is that what you are referring to?
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, all this which I'm sharing is theory for me. I haven't done, the practical. I'm not aware of the practical aspects of it. That's why I'm just curious.
There are settings like thread pool connections. Uh, Okay, so those connections are not necessarily directly related to end user threads. Okay, please try to understand this. Suppose suppose you log into an application, you make a connection, okay, and let's say you go to Flipkart and you do a search, okay. In the back end, there are connections being developed between your app server and DB server. Okay, so thread pool connections generally do not meant directly with your users connections. Okay, it can also relate to how many connections can develop between app server and DB server. Okay, that's where if you have heard about these terms, process queue length, right? So that's where those things comes into picture. If there is any delay in your processing time of the query, that thread remain in wait state, okay, and then there will be connection timeout kind of errors start coming inside your application servers.
Yeah, so they are
So what?
limited according to like for REST API, there will be a limited threads like 4 or 16,
That's right.
and
That's
then for different like to perform a job, scheduled job, it will be performed by a different thread. Like default thread generally works on those. So how can we
correct.
see? So in Java, can we see like how much are default threads, how much are threads allocated to REST API?
Yes, you can see that. There are configuration settings. You can see that. I'll try to do that demo as well, wherein you can configure those in upcoming sessions.
Okay.
And those threads are also limited. Okay, whatever connections, whatever number of connections an app server can build with the database, that is also very limited. But those limited connections can still able to perform because of well efficient SQL queries. Okay, so those perform within milliseconds. So in good performing applications, those let's say wha- uh, there is one connection and the maximum limit is 10, it can still handle a huge amount of load because of very less timing taken by SQLs.
Yeah.
I'll show you that as well in practical. Don't worry.
Okay.
Vicky, there are two things here, right? There's client and the application server. So three tier client, web server, application server, and database server. So when we
Yeah,
are referring to threads, are we referring? Do they come in all three places, like on the web server, on the application server, and
right,
also on the database server? Like there are we
correct.
dealing with three different things?
Yes,
Okay. So on web server, you can configure. I mean, the same theory applies. There is a thread
yes,
pool. Same thing on the application server and then database.
right, right. Same number. I mean, yes, you are going in the right direction. Same theory applies in both the layers. You can configure how many connections can be built between database and application. can configure how many connections can be built between end user and app server or web server.
And this thread concept, is it restricted to Java or is it independent of whatever uh, implementation it is?
You mean the thread count which we were seeing earlier?
The concept of thread, this whole the thread, the concept of thread, is it only restricted to Java-based applications, or it is there in any other implementations like .NET and other things?
Yeah, everywhere it is there. It's not only
It's not.
about
It's not.
Java.
Okay. It's not a
It's
programming
some,
related.
yeah, it's something on OS level, right?
Okay. 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 Got it. Yeah. So it's a feature in operating system which programming languages use to
Yeah.
run the programs, right?
If-
Yeah.
One question about these connections. So the
Mhm.
connection value between app server and database, and let's say the connection value between web server and app server. So should there be any correlation between these two values? Suppose say I have given 100 as a connection pool between app server and database. So
Mhm. Mhm.
should there be any, is there any logic or something which we can use to decide how much value should be there between web server and app server or something based on the database value we gave 100?
Yes, mostly, but correlation is always not a causation. So that means
Mhm.
it means, it you can't say if something is happened, it is because of this. Okay. There is a correlation, but from my experience, what I have noticed is between app and DB server, there are uh, only 10 connections kind of things are, there, but those queries takes milliseconds of time in response. Okay. So what I mean to say is there are more number of connections I have seen between web and app, but less number of connections between app and DB. Okay. So the reason being that layer has to perform much better, much faster. Okay. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so we cannot directly decide the values, right? We have to do some trial and error and
Correct.
something like that.
Yes, that's
Uh,
right. Yeah.
It depends on the processing time of the DB or application layer. So because that will decide that queue buffer also.
And
Yeah.
also we
And
tend to use this connection pooling, right, between database and app server. So the connection is always open and we are reusing it multiple times, right? So that makes it fast.
correct. And if you have noticed this most of the time, and I have seen this in almost every case, the maximum pooling is available was 10. Okay. I mean, maximum connections that can be built up is 10. Still, still the application is performing good. I'm reiterating that point again. The reason was DB performance was better. The query performance was better. It is performing response. It is giving back response within millisecond. So there is no queue buildup. Okay. So there are no processes which are in waiting state. There are no threads which are in waiting state. All are getting quickly processed. So in that way, less number of connections between app and DB can also perform better. So if your database performance is good, then less number of connections between application and database can also give you good performance. Making sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
each thread will process faster, so it will be free.
Yes. So if it is finished fastly, then another can, take the and process its own thing, and similarly it goes on.
But
Okay.
where are we configuring the connection pool size, Vicky? Like, is it
In
on the
application
application
servers.
server?
Yeah,
Oh,
in
the
application servers,
DB
yes.
connection pool size. Okay.
Yeah, DB connection pool, yes.
Even
In
threads,
application
we are
servers.
configuring that also on the application server.
Yes.
Like the request from the client, right? How many it can handle simultaneously. That number.
Web servers, that, yeah, that you have to configure in web servers. So how much,
Okay.
see, client will directly making requests to the web server, right? So those things which are related directly to the end user, that has to be configured inside web server.
So Vicky, can we
Okay.
have some session in which we set up like web server, then application server, and try to configure all this so we will have better understanding.
Yes, I have that in my pipeline. So in today's second, right? So 7th or 9th, we will be doing that.
Vicky, you're saying
So
application servers cannot handle static content which web servers serve.
sorry, come again.
So you're saying this some things what the end users should access that should come from web servers, but the backend code should come from the app servers, right?
No,
You're saying
what we
any
were
of the
discussing was
application. Sorry.
what we were discussing was like thread pool connections where those settings needs to be given. So if there are connections that has to be decided between application and DB, those settings are configured inside app servers. Okay, but if there are some thread limits that we want to set between end user and your application, that needs to be done inside web servers. That's what I'm saying. And then between web and app. So
What if we
end
don't
user
have web
means
servers at all, but can the application server still take care of this scenario? What you just explained.
can application servers still they take that scenario? Sorry, which
Right.
scenario?
Yeah. The scenario what you try to explain, right? The thread
Uh-huh.
configuring the thread pool, all that. That can
Uh-huh.
application server also do that activity, or web server is must and needed?
Okay, so I think application server can do that for if you want to make connection between database, but I'm not sure if you are talking about end user, then those settings, I need to check that.
Uh,
Okay.
what I understood, there are two kinds of implementation, right? One is having a pure web server, and the next one is so it's like Oracle HTTP server. That's just a web server. There you can't host application code. And then you have another server, so program software, which can act both as web and application server. And then you have a database server. So in this implementation, if you want to configure the threads, I mean the requests that are coming from to handle the requests that are coming from the client, the changes has to be done on the web server, Oracle HTTP server, for example, configuration file. Whereas the request that goes from application server to database, the DB connection pool, has to be configured in the configuration file of application. So am I getting this right, Vicky?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other? So I think we can connect tomorrow. It's So we will start with bit more complex application. And if anybody need any kind of support with performance scripting, if you want to develop some performance script for complex application, please feel free to contact, because we will be start building some complex application scripting, and we'll put some load on that. So if you are not aware how to create script, how to do that, I can share this sample application with you if anybody want, and I will share you the steps as well. And there are some dependencies. I'll mention all those things and I'll share in the. Shall I share in the WhatsApp group or in the Teams?
WhatsApp should be fine.
What's up?
Okay, fine. And you want this demo zip file as well to play
Yes,
around?
the code. The code.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you put it on
I think that
Drive, like a Google Drive or
Google Drive.
somewhere, and give us that link?
Yeah.
That way we'll have everything in
Okay.
one place
Yeah.
instead of plotting through too many things.
Fine. Fine. Yeah, we'll do that. Anybody else? Anybody wants to add something? Any question? Any doubts? Any concerns? Okay, then we'll catch up tomorrow. I'll share you these sample details and we'll start work on some complex application as well now. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Good night. Bye.